na katawan, mapayapang isipan. Go palakas, malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa't kaibigan. Go palakas, alagaan natin si inang kalikasan. Halika na totoo sa kalikasan at kapwa-tao. Isa buhay natin ito. Go palakas, go palakas. Sugan pangkalikasan. Go palakas.
A blessed good morning to everybody.
Good morning, Happy New Year, and
Buhay-
Happy Valentine's in
Ang
advance.
daming bati natin ngayon, yung New Year, tsaka yung
Buhay
Valentine's.
Pachoy.
Oo. So, ang daming celebration
Tapos,
tayo
meron pa tayong-
for
Kailangan
this
natin ang
weekend.
tikoy.
Meron pa tayong Woaini.
Ayan, love. Yes.
Diba?
Chinese. din.
Chinese for I love you.
Yan,
Okay, very
diba?
nice. Oo.
So, I hope everybody's having a pleasant long weekend, di ba?
Very cool
Long
weather.
weekend holiday. I know in Manila people, you're experiencing the rain that is so much welcome all the time. I'm not sure whether
Easy
you're
cruise.
welcoming it kasi alam nyo, minsan pag tuloy-tuloy, but still, kasi kami taga-probinsya, we always look at the rain as a blessing.
Yes.
Grasya talaga.
Very
Blessing from
nice.
above.
Oo.
You know?
Sarap matulog when it's raining.
And all the plants and trees are so happy with the rain. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings about, it changes the mood. If
Oo.
you're in a natural forest,
Mm-mm.
it changes the mood immediately. Even all the living entities welcome the rain all the time. You know, it's a blessing. So just as many things in life is always a blessing, this human form of life is a blessing.
Yes, very important.
You know, it is, one is to understand that ang buhay ng tao, ang lalim ng buhay ng isang tao, ano ang nagbibigay ng meaning at purpose sa kanyang buhay? Alalahanin natin ito. Kadalasan kasi tayo ay naghanap ng, we always look for a purpose and some type of fulfillment in life. And what is the basis of that? What brings a person to pursue it? Diba? There's always a foundation to that, or there's always a basis. Let's say, for example, as a young child, when one is born, as a baby, immediately people around that baby, the parents, and everybody who's caring for that baby,
The grandparents.
the grandparents, so much attention is put to the point na
As in showered with attention siya.
who has duties at night, i-divide yung work, di ba? And definitely the mother who is always very much there for the child from the 9 months that the child is in the womb until the child comes out, until the child is grown enough to be able to make decisions in life. Parents are always there for them. Diba? And, you know, we talk about loving relationships. When does it
Yeah.
begin? When do you begin to experience this loving relationship? Especially parents loving a child. The basis of that is, di ba yung pagmamahal na yun, unconditional yun eh. Walang mga
Oo.
condition. You know, and then
Sakripisyo.
as a child, we experienced that loving, ang sukat na walang conditions. So that is rooted, or that is planted in our hearts and in our experience as a person. And that actually begins us or prepares us for more deeper relationships or more lasting relationships. You know, Kasi,
May kasabihan nga na you carry a child for 9 months in your womb, for 3 years in your arms, but forever in your heart.
Wow, ganda. Talagang love na love.
Yeah.
You know? Long-term love.
yeah,
Yes.
di ba? And we all know that when we lose somebody we love, right? He departs or something happens. Di ba? Ang kalungkutan nandyan din palagi.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest, actually the biggest stressor in life daw is when you lose a spouse.
Oo.
Oh, that's the number
Or
one
a-
in the list of stressors.
Or a parent,
Or
or
you
a
lose somebody you love.
child.
A child, lalo
marami,
na.
oo,
Oo,
Right.
it's just,
Diba?
So that feeling
Really goes
of relationship,
against, no?
that deep love is there because sacrifice is involved.
Yes.
Yes. For us to have such relationship, the basis is when we give and make sacrifices for one another,
Oo.
expressing this caring, you know. Just as we have this human form of life, you know, we are so fortunate with it because how did we get to this point in time of our existence in this world na meron tayong, we have a form of life that we can experience deeper interpersonal relationship with one another. And the basis of that, and where is it rooted? Anong root niya? You know, what is the very root of this loving relationship? You know, many of us, we tend to feel, especially nowadays when we tend to, you know, we're living a life that we're not so used to. And nagbago ang buhay natin because of the pandemic. And there are many times when family are more together, but yet at the same time, there's members of our family or people who are adults and working na nagkukulang sila sa maraming bagay na hindi nila ma-deliver yung kanilang normally gustong ibigay sa pamilya nila. You know, alam nyo, minsan, ang importanteng bagay dito, minsan talagang hindi mo makukuha lahat ng gusto mo eh. But, meron kang isang pwede mong makuha at madama. Ang tawag doon eh, nagmamahalan at pagmamahal sa isa't isa.
Nice.
At yun, walang hangganan yun eh.
kahit long distance.
Right, di ba?
Kahit
nga
no
ngayon,
see.
Oh.
Di ba?
you know, and something that we have to always be so thankful for is that in life itself, we have to always be thankful and recognizing those who have made a difference in our life. Then more than anything else, one should not forget that we have a constant companion. There's somebody in our heart. Kita nyo nasa puso mo. Dalawa kayo nandun, magkasama.
It's
Right?
the right place to be.
Right? Like, kaya, hindi ba, pagdating sa relasyon, hindi ba kadalasan puso palagi yung ipinapakita?
Oo nga.
Diba?
Bakit
The icon of
ganon? The
Valentine's,
heart.
ano?
Icon ng Valentine's
Love.
yan eh.
Oo.
Puso. Hindi ba? Bakit puso? Di ba? And
Tsaka
if
pag
you-
malungkot
Kasi that's
ka,
where
parang
we
masakit
live.
yung ditong area mo. Parang
Yes.
sumisikip yung puso, yung dibdib mo, hindi ba?
That's where you feel it.
you know, minsan pag masama ang loob mo, diyan kagad. Di ba? O meron kang dinadama or nararamdaman. Di ba? And most of that, di ba, pag sinabi natin, you know, the word emotions. Emotions. You know what it means?
No.
How it's defined?
No?
It's energy in motion. E.
Yung pala yun.
Ayun pala yun. Energy in motions. And you know, depending on your emotional content or your condition at the moment, or there's certain things that are bothering you, this bothers your whole outlook. This disturbs it. Di ba?
Oh, lakas ng
Ang
tama.
lakas kagad ng tama niyan. There's always that, but it affects you.
Yes.
You know, the way you think, your moods, your day, sometimes days, sometimes months. May mga ganun yan eh. Your
For years.
you know, tinatago nyo yung emotional difficulties nyo sa inyo. And then to the point it's being seen in different it will manifest in different ways. Sometimes it will manifest as depression or sometimes yung may sakit, may pains ka sa katawan.
Right.
Or you're not in the mood to do things. You know,
Pero but in particular, because we're talking about love, if you are experiencing love, then wow, it really powers you.
Oh yeah, that's basically what I'm pointing at. I want to get to that point where, but if a person is highly inspired and motivated and is feeling love in his heart,
Oh.
Mm-mm.
that becomes the person's inspiration. Kasi,
Oo.
and the depth of that love, if you experience as a human being, this is the most fortunate gift that we have. We can experience what is known as unconditional love. That's
Yeah,
right.
no conditions.
Right.
Hindi yung I love you if you're gonna be giving me gifts or
If you're nice to
chocolates
me.
or roses.
You know? May condition yung tawag doon. Conditional love ang tawag doon, hindi unconditional. Eh
But-
dahil,
But who loves us unconditionally?
okay, saan galing yun?
Yan.
Diba? Tsaka nadama nga natin sa mga magulang natin yan sa umpisa pa lang. Pero kasi, ang role ng magulang is to prepare the child not only in skills or capacity to do things, but actually learn the interpersonal social relationship kasama sa ano yun
Going.
for growing up in until
Development, no?
yeah, in development
Ating
kasi
social skills.
dadating sa ng panahon ikaw ay magiging ama or ina rin ng pamilya mo, and what will drive you to express and to do things, to make sacrifices
Mm-mm.
for your children, for your child.
Oo.
Again, it's rooted in your heart.
In our upbringing.
In our
Our
upbringing.
love.
Kasi nadama
Yeah.
natin sa magulang natin. So, we know how to give that same kind of love.
Yeah. Siyempre, ang Valentine kasi kadalasan yung husband and wife ang pinag-uusapan dyan palagi.
Or
O yung
partners,
magkasintahan or
yeah.
partners. Di ba? Pero
But
at the same
it
time,
shouldn't be just that.
Oh, it's not
Yes.
limited. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
limited.
limited.
Oo.
because such loving relationship, if a person is experiencing deep love, that unconditional love that comes from our Supreme Father, our constant companion in our heart, then you see the world in a totally different light because your relationship with everybody is based on what you are experiencing in your heart.
Yeah.
That inspires you.
Maybe we can ask our viewers to actually contribute to our discussion, no? Kung paano ba kayo natulungan ng love or
Yeah,
how you
is
show
How
love.
is love powered you?
Yes, kung paano ka na-power by love.
Okay,
Okay.
please write in your experiences on this. And beforehand, let's greet everybody who's
Yeah.
listening now. And Kalindi Relova, who's always the first one.
Oo.
Yeah.
Number one.
Si Piyang
Yang
Aboy.
Yan,
Yes.
okay. I
And
think he's from Cavite. Yeah.
and,
Karkar Abod, mga taga Cebu.
yes,
Yeah.
Karkar.
Okay. Kat Nanta, good morning. Good morning to you. Matt Resurrection, good morning. Cynthia Silvestre. Oh, Cynthia, how are you, Cynthia? Na?
She's from Singapore, di ba?
No.
Where is she
No.
from?
She's from Santa Ana.
Oh, I
Yeah.
Then
Manila.
Adi, yeah.
And then
And then
Henry.
you have
Harry Yumo.
Harry Yumo
Harry
again.
always
Up
make
north.
up north from Ilocos
Uh-huh.
Norte. No. And Katrina Resurrection.
And
Okay,
Rene
so-
Araneta and Piyang Boy says watching from Silang. And then ang dami natin Lakbay
Wow.
Gulay
Oo.
and Maynigo Tribe from La
Sige.
Union, Vina Pascua and Gore Harry Das. Okay. And Mike Rex and Muriel Go.
Okay. Again, let's get things on a loving mood.
Wow.
May ganun yan, di ba?
Okay.
Share to us what goes deep
Inspired.
on your part.
Dapat
you know?
inspired tayo with
Yes.
love, hindi ba?
As human beings, this is our gift. When we are inspired, kasi ang tao na inspired siya sa lahat ng bagay, ang unang ginagawa niya, yung isa-sakripisyo niya para sa kapakanan ng iba.
That's what love is kasi
Yes.
it's giving, not
It's giving and
taking.
sharing and
Oo.
caring. It's not always me. I have to, kasi yung
It's
ganun,
more of
that's,
giving,
yes,
talaga.
more sharing and giving.
Yes.
You know?
Oo.
And just as we are gifted with everything that we need in this world, but sometimes we tend to overlook that opportunity and not listen to our heart for guidance in things that we do in life. You see, when one has a relationship, di ba, you nurture that relationship. You begin that relationship. Sometimes the relationship begins maliit lang na bagay. But,
Oo.
o kaya yung kakayanan mo mag-share ka o magbigay ka sa iba, kakaunti lang. Pero alam niyo, pag sinabing with love and devotion, walang sukatan na ngayon yan.
Yeah.
At saka yun, madadamo mo talaga na ang tao, kung, totoo ang tao. Diyan mo nasusukat kung anong tao eh. Di ba? Diyan mo nasusukat yan eh. Yung kanyang pagmamahal sa iba, pagmamahal sa kanyang kapwa tao, di ba? Yung caring. Kaya nga utos sa atin ng ating Panginoon yan eh.
Oo.
Pag minahal mo siya, mamahalin mo rin yung iba.
Oo.
Kung ano yung nadadamo ng pagmamahal sa kanya, na ibinigay na niya sa'yo, dapat ganun din sa iba. Okay? So, when a person lives this way and is inspired by this loving experience, then he would see everything in relation to that, his relationship with the Father or God.
Konektado
Konektado
yung
sila,
love
kumbaga.
natin for the Supreme, and connected yan for our love for others.
Yeah, in fact, sa lifestyle medicine, ang dami natin lagi napapag-usapan in Go Palakas. We say, we need fresh air, water, food, exercise. Ang dami, di ba?
Yeah.
But really, part of the package is love. Love. And we talk about
Essential.
it's the most
Oo.
essential actually, because you might be physically healthy, but if you don't have love, then you kind of dry up, shrivel up, and die. People say, she died of a broken heart. It actually happens, when you're
Or of
you're
loneliness.
crushed. Yes.
Loneliness.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this love, like Tito Toby mentioned earlier, the unconditional love, actually each of us has this. We just need to recognize, that God is always there for us. He's in our heart, and that's actually the food for us, the soul. Yeah, we need that spiritual growth, that feeling of being needed and wanted and loved, actually. Yeah. During this day or tomorrow pa, no, yung Valentine, even New Year is a time families come together and have a loving gathering together, right? Thanking each other for being part of the family. Sometimes people during this time, dito pa sila nadidepress kasi niisip nila parang wala yatang nagmamahal sa
Oo
akin.
nga.
That's when they get depressed. That's why it's so important for us to discuss this, to mention it to you that you're never really alone. You're always loved. And the love that God has for us is unconditional. Ibig sabihin, it's not like, when you're online, people go online, di ba? Trying to have social interaction. And sometimes we think, marami akong likes. People love me,
Dami ako followers.
Yeah, or sometimes you think, nobody loves me. Walang likes, iilan lang. Pira-pira sa it's not a billion people
Again,
loving me, but God loves us no
conditional
matter
na
what.
naman.
Conditional.
Exactly.
Binabash pa nga nila minsan yung nila-like nila kasi pangit na raw, tumaba na raw, and everything.
Yeah,
Minsan,
and then meron, i-unfriend ka. Walang ganon sa love. Ang real love, friend mo lagi.
Oo.
At saka you don't have to be beautiful. You don't have to be
Yes.
good in makeup. You
Yes.
don't have to know how to dance,
TikTok.
Yeah. Because you are loved. No matter what.
May isang one of the viewers, si Mary Salazar, sabi niya, yes, love goes with patience, endurance, and happiness. Eventually, if connected with the love of God, thanks. And good morning to everybody. di
Sabi
ba?
pa nga ni
Connection yan eh.
Sabi ni Muriel, when love, when brings you pain, take that pain and turn it into art. Wow.
Okay.
Pero she
Siguro.
said something earlier. Love is not love if you
Till
until
you
you give it away. Until you
diba?
give it away.
Exactly.
Siyempre,
Yes.
there's
Until you
also
share it.
Because
art.
that's what love is nga. You overflow with love from God, so we want to share it with others.
and
Yes.
the art of
That's the
loving. Di ba? May
nature
art
of
yan.
art.
Ibig sabihin yan. Alam nyo, kaya pag sinabing art, hindi nyo yan pwedeng in-institutionalize, hindi nyo pwedeng ilagay sa kahon yan. Ang art, widespread yan eh. Di ba? Kadalasan, expression kasi yan eh.
Yes.
Di ba? And you can express it in so many different ways.
Yes. Meron pa tayong mga bumate, si Haridas from Baguio. Yes, and Brenda from
Hardas from Cebu. Salamat for sharing.
Cebu,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry. And Julia Aromin. And of course, we have people, yung mga nakikinig, no? Si Rene Araneta, sinabi niya, kapag konektado po tayo sa source of all love and pleasure, the Supreme Father, ang tendency, we wish to share that love with others too. Kasi
Yes.
pag may natitikman kang
It's
masarap,
normal.
hindi ba? Kahit
Yeah.
pagkain, may natikman ka, uy, tikman mo rin to,
Oo,
hindi ba? You
oo.
want to share it.
Yes.
So,
Alam mo, ang
You
katulad,
want to pass it on.
Pass it on.
alam mo
yes.
kasi, ang pagmamahal, pag yan ipinapasa mo, sinishare mo sa iba, mas lumalalim ang pagmamahal ng isang tao. Kumbaga, mas nagbubunga ang pagmamahal. Katulad ng pagmamahal sa atin ng Diyos, pag i-share natin sa ibang tao yung pagmamahal, madadaman natin, even yung pagmamahal ng Diyos sa atin, mas nagiging intense. Kasi natutuwa rin siya sa yung ginagawa. Nadadama mo yun sa sarili mong buhay.
At saka one thing unique about love is even when you go through hard times, it's going to really carry you through.
Yeah.
Diba?
Mas dumadali yung mga trials, yung mga challenges.
oo.
Pag meron ang nagmamahal sa akin.
Yeah.
This is my
someone's got my back. You know? I'll make it.
In fact, there's a story of this guy who was born without arms and legs, si Nick Vujicic. He is a Serbian descent, but grew up in Australia. And basically, he wanted to commit suicide at the age of 10 years old.
Whoa,
10 years
very
old.
young pa.
Kasi yung mga bully sa school kept saying, you're useless ka. You're just a
Yeah,
burden to
conditional.
everybody.
Oo.
Hindi ba? So down na down siya.
Mm-mm.
So he wanted to commit suicide. But when he remembered the love of his parents,
Yeah,
He
it's
said,
so important.
I will give them greater pain if I actually commit suicide. So,
Very
I do
intelligent.
not want to give them that pain. So, yung love ba, naramdaman niya from, kahit hindi siya love ng classmates niya, pero love siya ng parents niya, doon nag-go through siya and he was able to overcome that suicidal tendency.
Very nice.
But he eventually became a preacher, no?
Oo.
An inspirational, motivational speaker.
Yes.
Yun sinasabing sharing.
Yeah.
He would travel around the world and actually speak to people about, overcoming your fears and actually developing love.
Yes.
Kaya maganda may mga tao na
Important talaga yung parental love.
Yes. Oo.
Yeah,
Saka
that's a very root Doon nag-uumpisa.
You feel God's love through your parents in the
Yes.
beginning.
Right. You've experienced that. Then you know what unconditional love means.
Yeah. And as a parent, it really takes a lot of loving, to raise a child, di ba?
Oo.
To nurture that child and help them achieve their potential. And then it also takes a lot of love later on when you have to let them go. Let them spread their wings and fly, go wherever they need to go and grow.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Actually, meron pang ang comment ngayon
Si
si
Carmen Padriga sabi niya, love is blind, especially in this world.
maraming nabulag, no? Hindi nila ma-appreciate
Oh,
yung
you
real love.
That means many things. ha?
Oo, baka minsan nabubulag ka sa pagmamahal, nalimutan mo na ang sarili mo. May mga maloloko ka niyan. May mga ganyan yan eh. Then may isa kay Hari, sabi niya, if we have love, we have everything. Yes,
yes.
definitely. We
Kahit
can.
marami kang pera and all that, pag wala kang love, parang feeling super poor ka talaga.
Talagang
Oo.
kawawa, di
Yeah.
ba? That's why there's a lot of even people who are poor, but they're happy.
Exactly.
hindi
They're
ba?
happy
Even
with
in
each
in the
other.
country where we are,
That's
sa
the real
Pilipinas,
happiness.
sinasabi nga but
Di ba
Alam mo,
nagtataka yung mga tao?
meron-
Bakit ang daming masaya
oh,
dyan?
yeah, meron ako
Tawa
isang,
na.
yung aking pamangkin na, siya, raised in America,
Only child.
only child. So,
Oo.
imagine nyo,
At may kaya.
pag nakita mo, handsome, athletic, ganyan, ano? Tapos, alam nyo, hear the story kasi sabi ng sister ko, you go to the Philippines, so at least you learn what the country is like, You learn
Kasi
something.
half Filipino nga siya.
Oh, so ngayon, alam mo, he volunteered his time kasi he's an athlete. He even brought soccer balls. Dinala ko siya dito sa
He was like 14 at
Public
the time, no?
elementary
public
school
elementary
natin.
school
oo.
sa lugar na
Where we
liblib
live,
na wala. Pag nakakita ng katulad sa kanya, parang wow, ang tangkad, yung gano'n eh. Ang lilit kasi ng mga bata. Pero
Oo,
alam niyo,
they're malnourished
what broke
kasi.
the ice? was when he, started to teach them. Then, nakita niya, nagsasayahan yung mga bata, masaya sila sa kanilang ginagawa. Sila nakapaalang, ang mga suit nila alam mo, simpleng tao lang sila. Alam mo, when he took the video of that experience, he brought it back to America where he was gonna show what he did in the summer. Pinakita niya ngayon. Hindi lang sa kanyang mga kaklase, ngunit pinalabas sa buong eskwela. So ngayon, sabi ng mga tao, some of the adults were saying,
The teachers.
yung mga teachers, ba't ang sasaya nila?
They were confused.
They were confused by, if you don't have anything, you should be sad. And
Kasi
not,
nakita nila, the kids were scrawny, walang chinelas, nakapaalang sila.
tapos,
Pero ang saya nila.
saya nila amongst friends. Alam mo,
Yes.
masayahin yung pakiramdam nila. Hindi nila nakikita na porque ganito ako, dapat ako, alam mo, I should be miserable. Kumbaga, no.
The real happiness is not in your things.
Not measured that way. Then, for my nephew, because of that experience, he came back twice.
Oo.
And he volunteered his summer working to raise funds. Matagdagan pa, makatulong lang siya ng konti. And then, you know one thing? There's something that he learned that time. It is about caring and loving. That's why he himself felt it. And for as long as you are not in this mood of caring and making sacrifice, life will be difficult. Diba? Because by nature, this is a gift that we have and that we should continue nurturing this. It doesn't take just a moment. It can be a lifetime experience of loving relationships. As you meet people, you don't see the dark side. You see the goodness in every person.
Oh, we have
let's-
something. Yeah, Matt Resurrection said, if a person directs his love toward the Supreme Person, his desire for someone to love will be fulfilled so completely that he never becomes attached to anything or anyone in the world, although he will, in the truest sense, love everyone.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Oh,
Yun
there's
naman
another
tinuro
one
ni
there.
Jesus Christ
Oo.
na love, hindi ba? So binabati rin tayo ni Priscilla Lavarias.
And Rose.
Si
Yeah,
Bajanda,
and
si
Katrino
Elefano.
has something to say
Katrino?
up there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a friend who has had a bad experience with love. She keeps looking for
For love.
love in the wrong places and looking for love in so many faces. Wow. How can I help her find true love? Yan ang gusto naman niyang tulungan yung kaibigan niya.
Yan ang
Di ba?
pagmamahal.
That's what we
Yan ang
talked about
concern,
this
di ba?
earlier. Oo.
Di ba?
Okay. Actually, I would suggest, basically speaking, teach them meditation. Meditation is a wonderful process.
Meditation and
Oh,
prayer all
and
the
prayer.
time.
Yes,
It's a
and
very
prayer.
wonderful
The Lord is
process
the
to
one who
feel
loves us.
happiness in your
Yeah.
heart, and to connect with the Supreme Being. It's
We
a
have to be
simple one.
also streetwise when it comes to when you're looking for somebody to love, because marami din
Nanloloko.
manloloko.
Alalahanin niyo, nandito pa rin tayo sa earth. Sa earth kasi choices pa eh.
Mm-mm.
Hindi katulad sa totoong mundo natin. Pag sinabi natin pagmamahal, isang direction lang.
Mm-mm.
Diba? Pagmamahal sa Diyos.
Meron pa nga mga true stories I've read in America. There was this young college girl, an athlete, and she fell in love with a guy. Hindi niya sinabi 27 years old lang siya, but he was actually 38, and he turned out to be a ano ba yun?
Oh.
Offender ba yun, yung mga ganon. May record na. She didn't know that. And she trusted him until when parang nalalabuan na siya, she wanted to break off. Pinatay siya, you know.
You know, this is
But
where,
that's a common story.
Yeah, this is
so
where,
be careful, really.
again, you go back to the very beginning of a person's life. This is where it's important. That's why parents are gifted with this unconditional loving and sacrificing that they need to do to raise a child. Because part of that is building the foundation of a person or a child. So that the child knows immediately na sa puso niya, siyempre, iba-ibang tao nga eh. Kasi maraming tao sa mundo. Ang
You have
mundo
to
nga
teach
natin
them the
kumbaga ano yung
skills.
choices
Oo.
nandun kung anong klaseng buhay ang gusto ko
Oo.
Di ba? So ngayon, pagdating sa pagmamahal, ano rin tayo, kailangan tayo very, kumbaga ano, I don't just open my heart to anybody because
Yun.
somebody can exploit it.
Oo.
They can use you.
Yeah.
You
And
cannot
you know,
be so innocent, parang
Right.
gullible ba? You
Yeah,
know, madaling
but these things,
madala.
let's say, if you have the protection of the Lord in your heart, this is the most important
That's
and
why
vital
you
thing.
need to be recognizing
Nice.
that. You know,
Mhm.
that God loves you and you develop your love for God so you can hear Him tell you, huwag ka maniwala dyan, niloloko ka lang yan.
Mm. And then, yung pagmamahal na nadadama mo sa puso mo, siyempre, pinoprotektahan mo yun
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes, yes.
You protect that
Mhm.
That protection is being given to you.
Mhm.
See, this is so important kasi kadalasan, minsan love can be blinding in this world
Mhm.
You know,
Ang
depende
gagaling
sa
kasi mambola ng mga iba, no?
depende sa state ng minsan pananaw mo. Minsan inosente ka nga pero yung pala yung mga iba talagang
Wolf in sheep's
right,
clothing.
yung ganyan. So,
That's
ang
why you have to teach that to
daming
the
pwedeng
children
mangyari
pa
sa
rin.
buhay ng tao. Kaya again, babalikan mo at babalikan. Alam niyo yung pagmamahal ng magulang sa isang anak. Sa totoo lang, panghabang buhay yan. Kaya nga ang magulang hindi bumibitaw sa pagmamahal sa kanyang anak kahit malalaki na kanyang mga anak.
Oo, we're
Kasi
always
you
out
seek
there.
counsel There's that
Looking out.
counseling. You're looking out.
Mentorship.
Yes.
No? Mentorship.
Kasi leadership yan ang magulang
Mhm.
Kaya nga
Hindi
meron
ka
pa tayong
bumibitaw.
godparents di
Right.
ba? Aside from
Kaya
our
ang daming
parents.
ang daming mga
Oo.
kumbaga na,
Support system
there's layers
yan.
in a
Oo.
society. In a society, you cannot just a really stable society. You will find that it's a society that everybody is concerned with one another.
Oo.
Yes. Tulungan
And again, the
tayo.
basis of that is loving relationships.
Mhm.
Kasi for example, you know, in the tribal life, may ganito yan nung araw, no? Meron pang mga lugar na nandyan pa yan. Yung mga silang mga elders. Tapos, yung mga tiyo, yung mga tiya, nire-reinforce nila ang buhay ng isang child, o ng isang bata.
Mhm.
Kasi alam nila, ang buhay sa
Precious.
mundo,
Mahirap.
may mga bagay na mangyayari na baka mamatayan ka ng magulang mo.
Mhm.
Oo.
Yeah.
Oo.
Di ba? Sino ang
Papalaki sa'yo.
papalaki sa'yo? Sino ang mag-aalaga sa'yo?
Mhm.
Kaya nga ang mga relationships, kaya nga may godfather, godmother, may ninong, may
Mm.
ninang.
Oo, yun na nga.
Yun ang basihan ng pagdating sa relasyon ng isang tao.
Mhm.
Yung pagmamahal, alam niyo may mga kultura, katulad sa nga sa tribo, minsan ang gagawin nila, okay, ito ang anak ko. O itong panahon na to, pupunta ka sa tiyo mo ha.
Mhm.
Tiyo mo will take care of you for 2 months
Mm.
sa ganitong panahon. So, kanyari, bakasyon ninyo. May ganun yan. Tapos, the tiyo will act as a pair, as similar to what the parent would do to that sa kanyang pamangkin. So, in this way, the relationship starts to build up.
And they learn. From
And they
their
learn.
uncles, whatever
They learn, and the
skills
uncles want to
are.
share. Okay, may
Oo.
ganito pa. Ito, hindi ko natutunan sa aking magulang, pero yung aking kamag-anak, ang aking tiyo, maituturo sa akin ito.
Yes.
So, nire-reinforce yan.
Yes.
A tiyo or a tiya who's responsible and understands that I need to sacrifice too.
Yeah.
And but the basis of that is a loving intent,
Yeah.
with a loving relationship. So when you have such situation, just as we are parents or grandparents, we have to continue reinforcing
Yes.
and strengthening our interaction, our social relationship.
Yeah.
And the basis of that is what we always learn as a young child from our parents. It
And
begins
even
there.
later on, even the children, they also help take care of the elders.
Oo.
Diba? They
Yes,
also
eventually,
assist
magiging
their
ganon.
grandparents. Ganoon.
You know, for example, di ba, meron tayong mga teachers. Ako, naalala ko pa yung pinaka-strictong teacher ko. Nung bata kami. You know, when you're in grade school or high school. Kasi sometimes you may be hiding away. Natatakot ka sa teacher mo. Pero yung mga teachers na gano'n, alam mo, panghabang buhay mo sila maalala. Kasi alam mo, mahirap magsakripisyo para sa iba.
Mahirap magturo. ng-
Mahirap magturo ng matigas,
Makukulit na
makukulit
bata.
yung ulo ko. Maraming makulit na ulo. You know, I could imagine. But they will always, the real, kumbaga, the essence of teaching or mentoring is based on my caring and loving this person.
At saka ano
Yes.
rin yan,
Kaya nga,
nangangaral.
it's a noble profession.
They also teach you
Mahirap.
values, yung mga
Yes.
teachers.
Values yan eh.
It's just unfortunate in some countries that pinagbabawal nila. They don't allow, the talk of God in the classroom or whatever. But fortunately here in the Philippines, we can still talk about God, even
Openly.
Openly.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah,
nice.
we're blessed that way.
Ayan, meron pang mga bumabate. Thank you for joining us. Si Catherine Ran, Krista Tolentino, and Jens Siva, and Har. No?
He said, how I wish all the people in North America would take care of their grandparents. How we wish that we all have to learn to be caring for one another. This is
Yes.
something that we are
Yes.
always, because again, you go back to upbringing and the very foundation of our interpersonal relationship in the social fiber of things.
However,
the-
it's not that no one in North America takes care of their grandparents. Meron din naman.
Yes, there are those.
And there are those, the reason they put their grandparents in a home is because sometimes the grandparents need special care, which they cannot provide
Kasi
at home.
expensive also
Yes, very
to
expensive.
to deal with
Saka yung
those
culture, kasi
medical problems.
something that is very wonderful in more conservative countries like in Asia or in the Philippines, no matter what,
Tulungan kasi.
Yes.
yung magulang natin masama ang loob natin na kunyari hindi natin nadadama o nakakasama na hindi tayo nag-aalaga sa kanila. I mean that's the relationship that we have. It's like the caring relationship.
So
should
tomorrow,
always
which
be
is
there.
Valentine's Day, don't think only of showing love to a spouse or to your girlfriend, boyfriend, but hey, to everybody. It
Yes.
should be we should think and share with everyone.
It's the time
Loving-
to let them know we love them.
Yes,
Don't
it's
wait
universal.
until they die, and then that's when you're gonna say all these nice things about them. Please, while they're alive, let them know, show them how much you care about them.
Yes, just like you're showing us your love, with your nice greetings. We can share the same nice love with everybody. Okay, so I will share naman. Mag-share ako ng video. And this video actually comes from a series of videos that I prepared for a course, which I will announce in the future programs. It's about this particular video is about compassion, which is basically spiritual love, rin,
It's
no?
pretty much love in action.
Love in
Yeah.
action,
Yeah, again,
compassion for
emotions, diba?
others,
Emotions.
So I'd like to show an example of a very great personality who manifested this love and this compassion for others. Okay?
Okay,
So
let's
just
watch this.
watch it, yeah? Hello, good day. I would like to discuss for this lesson the yoga value of compassion. Compassion is defined as a feeling of deep sympathy and sorrow for another who is stricken by misfortune, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate the suffering or hardship. Compassion is manifested by all genuine yoga masters who want to help others become happy in life. Today, I will share with you the story of Haridas Thakur, who was very compassionate to all living beings, even to those who were considered lowest of humanity. Born in a Muslim family, Haridas Thakur lived in the 15th century in India. He was a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who taught him the power of the holy names of God. Haridas realized that by distributing the holy names, people would be mercifully delivered from their misery in life. Thus, wherever he went, he begged people to engage in the powerful chanting of the holy names, and he succeeded in getting all kinds of crowds singing and dancing with him. In this way, Haridas Thakur influenced many people to hear and chant the names of God. it is well known that the Hindus and Muslims can never get together on anything and agree. But on this one thing, they came together and agreed. We must destroy Haridas Thakur. The Muslims hated Haridas Thakur because they were thinking, he was born a Muslim, saved by birth, and yet here he is, singing and chanting the names of God, which are in fact just Hindu names. He's acting like a Hindu. He's chanting the names of the Hindu God. They wrongly thought that there were different gods, Hindu God, Muslim God, etc. Whereas in reality, there is only one God who has many names like Allah, Krishna, Jehovah, etc. And the Hindus didn't like Haridas Thakur because they were saying, he's a Muslim by birth and he's going around chanting the names of our God. He is lower than an untouchable. He doesn't even count in the caste system. So the Hindus and Muslim priests plotted and conspired to destroy the reputation of Haridas Thakur. They hired a prostitute to go to the cottage where Haridas Thakur was staying. Their plan was to lure Haridas into illicit sex with a prostitute, catch him in the act, and in this way, expose him to the people as a charlatan. One evening, as usual, Haridas was in his cottage chanting on his beads, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. He had made a vow that he would chant the names of God a certain number of times on his beads every day. A very beautiful prostitute came to the door of his cottage, and while revealing her leg, she expressed how attractive Haridas was and how she had the desire to have sex with him. Haridas replied, "Oh, please forgive me, but I have not finished my chanting. Please sit here, wait here, and I will be with you and satisfy you in a moment." So the prostitute sat down and listened as Haridas kept chanting, Krishna, 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 Gopala Govinda. Haridas kept chanting till the sun started rising, and the prostitute became disheartened and prepared to leave. Just before she was to go, Haridas said, "Please, I'm sorry I did not finish my chanting. Come back in the evening, and I promise you that I'll satisfy you." The prostitute came back that night, and she again found Haridas chanting. Haridas said, "I'm still chanting on my beads. Please wait." So the prostitute sat down, and she heard his chanting. He was chanting to her, giving her God. The whole night she heard him chanting till the sun rose again, and Haridas said, "Please forgive me. Come back in the evening, and I promise to satisfy you." The prostitute came back the third time, and on this night, instead of just listening to Haridas chanting the names of God, she started singing along. Her heart became purified, and tears came to her eyes. She fell down at the feet of Haridas, and she cried, "Please forgive me. I came here to destroy you. I came here on the instruction of the Hindu and Muslim priests to ruin you." Haridas replied, "Oh, I knew that. I was already scheduled to leave this cottage 3 days ago, but I knew you were coming, so I decided to stay and save you." The prostitute became the disciple of Haridas Thakur. He had her chant the names of God on beads, just like in a rosary, and worship the tulsi plant known as the holy sacred basil. She lived in the cottage which Haridas left behind. Shaving her head, she lived simply, wearing one cloth, eating only uncooked rice, which had been soaked in water. She became a very well-known saintly person.
Haridas was glorified even further because he turned the prostitute into a saint. Due to being an elevated yoga master, Haridas could see the heart and mind of the person who came to his cottage. She had come as an accomplice of society's high priests who wanted to destroy his reputation. And yet, Haridas felt compassion for this fallen soul and devised a way by which she could be purified and saved from her sinful situation in life. Haridas bestowed upon her the wealth of self-realization, happiness, and spiritual satisfaction. This is true compassion and love. In our lives, we will encounter many people, animals, and other living entities. What can we do to help them and uplift them from their suffering condition? Each individual soul can be gifted with spiritual love. Our love may not be perfect and complete, but every little thought and act of kindness can have an impact and profound effect on others if done with honesty and sincere compassion. So let us be agents of compassion and not agents of violence or cruelty to others. If we do this, then this world will have one more lighted candle to show the rays of hope, love, and kindness. Thank you very much.
Back to us.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's my Valentine's gift to everybody.
very nice. So, in the end, Haridas Thakur actually satisfied her, but not in the way she was thinking.
Yes. Actually, it was a gift for her, you know,
Yes,
na
it's real satisfaction that
the
she
gift,
received.
the gift of love to be shared with everybody.
So Myra says, what did she say? I love that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Si nagbabati rin, si Rina May. Meron siya sabi, if we love God, we automatically, where is that? Love others. Yeah. And also greeting from Mila Celeste, our good friend. Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, Mila. And Cesar Canonisado. And also from Michelle. Yeah, Jimenez. Michelle is
Oh,
listening
nice
to
to have
us.
you
Thank you
here.
very much. Thank you.
So, again, our time is up here. So I
Lagi-
hope we were able to share some wisdom and insights on what the true meaning of a loving relationship is and what is the very root of that love.
Yes.
In this world, we can experience these relationships, and and that unconditional love that has been given to us by our parents. There's a continuous process to that day, and you will always treasure that. And for as long as you're engaged in a relation or in a caring and loving relations, even with others, you're not limiting that, because the inspiration for you to do things is coming from your heart,
Yes.
and that is that loving relationship with our Father in our heart,
Yes.
who is our constant
Kasi
companion.
sabihin nung iba, ay yung magulang ko hindi nagpakita ng pagmamahal sa akin. Pero we have a supreme father, no?
Yeah,
There's
at the
always
end of
that
the day.
parent that cares for us. We are just prodigal children lost right now, but we're trying to get back home. Yeah. And then we have a greeting from Rosalinda. Sabi niya, beautiful story. Happy Valentine's to all of you. Okay,
Yes,
sharing.
thank you.
And also from Angel Gonzalo. And we have from the Mainigo tribe a comment. Such a powerful story.
Worth sharing.
Worth sharing.
Let us make our Supreme Father our Valentine today and every day.
Yes.
We
Very
don't
good
need
idea.
to look far.
Okay. So again, have a pleasant weekend, and
Yes.
everybody, please stay safe and be careful, and
Yeah. Please take advantage of this Valentine's Day to actually express your love to those whom you love. Sometimes we tend to not say anything, we just take for granted, oh yeah, we love each other, but then we forget to
Yeah.
tell
And
each
also,
other. It really
every day
helps.
of our life, we should always be taking that time, of the day to be always thankful to those who made a difference for your life, so that your life can be, you can be so, it may be so simple, but remembering other people's love for you and caring for you makes a whole lot difference in your own life.
Meron pang mahabol. Dapat
Okay.
ma-include natin. Si Harry Capulang and Miguel Vargas. Okay? And of course, from Iris, no? Festin. Okay.
And Har Har has
And
something
Har.
to say.
Basa na, no?
Ikaw na.
I remember back in Tacloban, city, it was on, what yan?
Every day.
It was on every day in the, okay. Every day on the story of Hardas Thakur. Thank you. Happy Valentine's. Let's spread this love to everyone. So
Okay.
nagkaroon siya ng good memory from the story.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
let's go.
Okay,
Yes.
spread
Thank
the
you so
love.
much. You spread the love.
Take care.
Remember, all we need is love. Love.
Love is all we need.
Oh, love is all we need. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas! Hari-ho